All right. Hey, friend, it's Brandon Gustafson with Assisted Living Investing. Super excited to have you here today. Today, I'm going to be talking about a story from one of my students who has been making some incredible progress on their assisted living journey. So, really excited to get into this one for you. For those of you who are trying to, thinking, hey, assisted living seems like a cool idea. I think I'd like to get into it, but all I see is YouTubers telling me about this stuff. I've got a real scenario here that I wanted to play out for you and share with you so you can see that people like you can do this as well. And I hope this is inspiring for you and helping you see that you can make this progress. And I'm going to kind of walk you through exactly how that happens. So, yeah, make sure you stick around. My name is Brandon Gustafson. I help first time assisted living entrepreneurs launch profitable, purpose driven businesses, creating prosperity, purpose, and peace in their lives. I love doing this. It's one of my favorite things to do. As of the recording of this, we have our roadmap challenge coming up next week. That is a way for you to get in and chat with me and get some and get some experience working with me in launching your assisted living business. So I would love to have you there. Go check it out at roadmapchallenge.com. It is a live coaching experience. It's just a ton of fun. I would love to have you there with me, answer your questions, help you make some progress. It's not like some big sales webinar or anything like that. It is coaching, and I am helping you build your personal roadmap to help you launch your assisted living business. So go join us, roadmapchallenge.com. Also, want to remind you to go and get the book, The Profitable Assisted Living Facility, at thealibook.com. We'll have that linked below for you over on the YouTube description. So go ahead and make sure you're watching that and getting access to that one there. Let's see. It's also, this is really cool for me. It's become a bestseller on Amazon in a couple of categories, which is really cool, in real estate investment books, and also for like long-term care and nursing home type planning books as well. So go check it out. Thealibook.com. That's the website. Go check there, and you can get access to it. All right, let's hop into the topic today. Again, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my students. She had a recent breakthrough, and it's really cool. So I want to share that with you and demonstrate to you that hard work and perseverance really does pay off. Because this is something that she's been working towards for quite a while. And sometimes it can go fast and sometimes it takes a while, and that's okay. But the more you are persistent in doing these things, you're going to be successful. That's why I tell you at the end of every single video, when you are consistent and persistent, you will be successful. And this is just a demonstration of that, because she's run into a bunch of roadblocks and she's making some incredible progress. And I'm super excited for her. We'll share a little bit about her funding process as well, because I know that's something that a lot of you are just like, funding. Ugh, I don't know. Funding's hard. I don't know if I can do it. I promise you, you can. We're going to talk a little bit about her journey and getting funding for her assisted living business, and I want to talk to you about submitting the license application, because I know this is another thing that for a lot of you is kind of hard, difficult, and something that is a struggle for a lot of people. So with that, I just need to make sure. I've been having some issues here lately. Okay, I am live on on all the things. Okay, we're good. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't talking into a void here, because sometimes I can see people and sometimes I can't. It looks like on my phone I am live. So let's keep going. All right. So my student, I'm not gonna share much of her details just because I want to keep her private. But this was between the Christmas and New Year break here. And she reached out to me, and I hadn't talked to her for quite a while, but she reached out and shared some really exciting news that she had had a breakthrough. She finally got the fire department to give her approval, which was the last thing she was waiting on, so she could submit her application over to for her facility license. And that's something that's like super cool to get through. I remember when I've had some of those roadblocks as I'm going through this, that it can be just super nerve wracking when you're waiting on other people and they're taking forever, and it's out of your control. And that's the very situation that she was in. She was just waiting for this thing to happen. And I'm sure there was an initial inspection that came through, and there was a list of things she had to do to improve the house because she renovated a house and has gotten this one ready, and it's in California. And it took quite a while to get it there, but she was able to get that through, and that was the last thing. And now she's submitting her license application. So she's gotten all of the other things done, and she's submitting that application, and that's something that for her is going to be super exciting to get through. So a little bit of background on her. This has been, I want to say probably close to an 18-month process for her. So it can take a while. I did 2 facilities in 5 months, so you can go quickly. It can go a lot faster than this, but she had a lot of hoops to jump through. She actually lives in Arizona and is doing this in California, kind of like on the border area, in a small town she's very familiar with. And that has been something that figuring out the funding for her was a really difficult process for us to figure out. I'll share that story here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share her story a little bit. We were trying to figure out how to get funding, and we worked on what I teach. You got to build your foundation. You have to do your market research, make sure you're comfortable with it. You have to build this solid business plan, and you need to do your underwriting so that you can get funding. So we were working on that for quite a while, and we honed this thing in, and it was about as perfect as you could imagine for a business plan to be. And she was able to get funding, but she went a very different route. She did a local, like a small local business development loan that was specific to her city. Okay, so this wasn't an SBA loan. It wasn't even like a conventional mortgage. It wasn't private money. It wasn't a grant. It was kind of more similar to a grant than anything else, but it was a loan with business development in her local city. And I have actually had success in helping other people find these types of loans. They're not always open. They can take some time to find, but they're actually really good loans that you can get, that you can look for. And they're just with the business development area in your state or your county or your city, kind of depends on the municipality, but you can find these in multiple areas. So we did that, and then and it was like the funding was approved contingent to her finding a house. So she had to find a house, and she had a few areas in mind, and she was kind of pigeonholed is maybe too strong of a word, but the funding from this business development grant or loan was in that specific city. So she had to find a home in that city. So she had to go through a process of finding that. Once she found it, she had to do renovations on the home to get it ready to go. And that took a good chunk of time. And when you're going through the process of getting a home and renovating it, one of the big things, there's 2 big things you have to do here. Okay. So my focus framework, foundation first, optimal property selection is second. And when you're in that optimal property selection area, what you have to do is check your zoning. You got to make sure it's zoned properly. You have, all the appropriate, just I's dotted, T's crossed, all of those things are in the right spot. Permits, whatever, permits or whatever you need, you're going to have those things in place. And you're going to need to have the fire department come out and check the home. They're going to check it and make sure that it's good. They'll give you what is called a certificate of occupancy. So like if you've ever gone into a fast food restaurant and you see, right by their exit door, it says maximum occupancy, 95 people or whatever it says, that is a fire department saying this is how many people can be in this facility before a fire would make it impossible for everybody to get out in time. Okay. You have to do something very similar to that for your assisted living business. And they will give you what I call, as a person that invests in this, a punch list of things that I need to do, renovations I need to get done so that I can obtain that certificate of occupancy. Okay. So they're going to give you that, and then you got to work through it, and you got to have them come back, and you go through this little cycle of getting things done to the point that you now have you now have the certificate of occupancy, and you submit that with your license. So this is a part of your licensing process. Okay. That's what she was working through. But once you do that, and while that's going on, you should be working on the rest of your license application. You should be filling out the forms. You should be working on your policies and procedures, which takes a significant amount of time. You should be doing all of these things so that you can get it all done at the same time, and then you can just submit it. Okay. So that's what she was working through. She was able to submit that, and she followed like what I just showed you there is my focus framework, right? Foundation first, optimal property selection. She got the capital and funding. She kind of did these a little bit out of order, and that's okay. And then she did the understanding rules and regulations. She's submitted that. Now she's just waiting. And this is the part that, depending on your state, this can take, a couple of weeks, or it could take 6 months. It just kind of depends on the state. I always suggest that you actually submit your application early on in the process. At the very least, you get inside of a queue, and then you can add more to your application as you go through it. But you don't generally go back to the start of the queue if they've reviewed it and you don't have everything. You get put like in this side queue, so that once you get the stuff in, then that you're at the front of the line already. So you want to do this early on in the process. And doing that, once you get that, the last part of my focus framework is a strategic launch. So this is where you are hiring the right people. You've got good payroll systems. You've got meal planning software. You've got EHRs. You've got all of these things, and then you're running the business, which is stressful in and of itself. It's like a whole nother thing, but it's really hard to get started. And she has gotten to that point where she's submitted it, and now she's just waiting. And once it's approved, then boom, doors are open. She can start bringing in residents, and that's really it's super exciting when I see my students get to that point. I've had a few of them get there, and it's so rewarding to hear their stories about just the this will sound really bad, about the headaches that you have to deal with when you own the business, right? To move from, I need to figure out how to get this. I need to figure out the funding. I need to figure out the licensing. I got to figure out all of these things. And all of a sudden, you have the business, and your questions and your conversations start shifting significantly. And for me as a coach, it's super fun to see people make that shift and move into this new phase of different types of questions and where they need to get to. So that's my goal with everybody that I coach, is to help you go from, okay, my questions are about funding. How do I find a lender? How do I get them to tell me yes? How do I navigate this part of the licensing process? And turning your questions over to, okay, how do I do this job posting, and how do I do an interview here, and how do I set up this EHR system? Where do you go to buy food, and how do you run payroll, and tax questions, and all of those types of things. Those are super fun to get into, and I love when people shift from one area to the next. It's super fun to see that happening. All right. So what I want to tell you here as well, I talked about the funding process. I shared her story. Um, the way that we got to that point with finding that loan specifically for her, we started out doing her foundation, right? So I'm just backtracking a little bit here. We started off with doing market research, making sure we could find that the city that she wanted to do this in was going to work well for assisted living. We did the market research. We made sure that worked. We built the business plan, and then we looked for these funding options. And we were scouring everything that we could find, and ultimately found this government program loan. And I teach inside of my roadmap challenge what I call the cash compass. And it's basically there's kind of four big large groups that are available to you to help you get the funding. And it's really easy, especially in the beginning, where you're just like, I don't know how to get funding. I've heard people talk about SBA loans, and grants seem like an exciting opportunity because you don't have to pay them back and those types of things. When in reality, there's so many options out there, and that's what I teach inside of the Cash Compass when you join the Roadmap Challenge. And you can kind of combine them and make them fit together. And so I'd love to teach that to you, because it's something that a lot of my students, they learn these things and they're like, oh my gosh, like it is so eye-opening to realize there are a lot of ways for me to get the funding that I need for my assisted living business. And you can. So that's what I teach in there. And then, yeah. And I talked about this also. I'm like looking at my scripting, my little thing that I set up for myself. I talked about a lot of this stuff already, but I just wanted to touch again really quick here on the home renovations for her. It was something that part can be really stressful. When I was getting started, my Idaho facility, this was my second facility, we were going through the process, and we had talked to zoning, and that went well. And then we talked to the fire department, and the fire department came in and they said, you actually need to have an extra bathroom here, or you need to at least change one of the bathrooms so that it has a public facing area. It has to be pointing to the common room. the common area of the facility. And we're like, crap, how do we do that then? And so it turned into even an existing facility. We had to make this slight adjustment. Now, I like existing facilities because you get grandfathered into a lot of old rules, but there are certain things that you just don't get grandfathered into because it is totally updated code. This was one of them for us in Idaho, where we needed this bathroom that was more public facing. So we had to work through and get this renovation done. And we had to do that before we could get the license, before we could get the funding, and all of these things kind of had to come together. And when you're going through that process and you have to wait, it can be very stressful to get there. So I've experienced it. I've had students, obviously, this person, not sure what I did there with my little string. Um, they've experienced it. And so, like, this is something that you may have to run into and you may have to deal with and figure out how to get around. But it also is something that I know you can navigate and you can figure out how to get through it. Okay. So those renovations are going to be big. That could be a potential roadblock. I'm working with a couple people inside of my programs right now. That's something we're focusing on is their construction stuff that they're going through. And that can be hard, but it's definitely worth it because you can get beyond that and then you can launch your own assisted living business and get where you want to be. All right. And then we've talked about the licensing application here as well. So I'm going to reiterate this. I said this a couple times already, but when you are working through all of this, the renovations on the home, you should be working through the rest of your license application. You should be trying to get these things done. You should be submitting this early on in the process, especially in states where it's going to take you a little bit longer. And so, in my market research guide, which is a part of my Launch Accelerator program, you can learn more about that at assistedlivinginvesting.net/launch. I have my market research guide in there, and inside of that market research guide, I give you a guide. I did the research for you to tell you about how long it's going to take you to obtain the license in your area, the administrator requirements, some of the other licensing requirements, those types of things. I've got all of that in a nice little package for you for each state. I can really help you narrow down and understand a little bit of the scope of what you're looking at. So go check it out, assistedlivinginvesting.net/launch if you're interested in getting access to that, plus working with me for a full year and a bunch of other things. But you should be figuring all of that out and submitting your license application early, especially in those states it's going to take you a lot longer to get your facility license. And you should be working on your policies and procedures. You should be doing that early on in the process because that's what's going to that's the thing that's going to take you the longest, honestly. You can pay somebody to do it for you, and if you're willing to pay between $1,000 and $2,500 ish, you can pay somebody to do it for you. So you just got to decide, hey, do I have the funds and do I want to pay somebody to do this for me or not? Inside of my Launch Accelerator program, actually, I give you access to my existing policies and procedures, and you can use those and then kind of customize them to you. That's a really helpful thing there as well. But you should be doing all of that. And a lot of the licensing process honestly starts with finding the correct licensing agency. This is where a lot of people are like, I don't understand the licensing process. I can't figure that out. A lot of it just stems back to finding the correct agency. And once you find that agency, the application is itself is pretty simple. There's just these extra hoops you got to jump through. Big ones being renovations, getting the home ready so you can get that certificate of occupancy, and then the policies and procedures and getting those things done. So once you have those things done, it works so much better. All right. And I see that with a lot of my students, including this one that I'm telling you the story about today, and her success is she was able to work through that and she did things in the right way. She had, I'm not sure when she submitted the initial application or what the process was there, but I do know that she was working on policies and procedures while she was waiting on the renovations to get done at the house so that she could submit all of these things all at once, at least in a final submission, and make sure everything was there, because of the way that she was talking to me about her experience with the fire department. Okay. She's following the framework. You need a framework when you're going through this. It will make your life so much easier because there's so many of you that you're just like, I don't know how to get started. If that's you, just like type in start down in the comments below, because that is something that like so many of you are just struggling with, trying to figure out how do I even get started on this path? Where do I even go? And that's confusing. And so you need a framework that can help you get there. It will make your life that much easier. And so that's what I teach: the focus framework, foundation first, optimal property selection, capital and funding, understanding rules and regulations, and a strategic launch. As you can see, I've talked about it through this example here today. My student, she has followed that framework. She's now submitted it. She's waiting. And once she gets there, she will have done the FOCU part of the focus framework. And then she shifts over to the S part, the strategic launch. And that is going to be just like this whole new world of trying to launch a successful assisted living business and make it profitable. And that's something that is super exciting. And I would love for you to also get there. But I also get it. Sometimes you're just like, I don't even know how to do that. And so that's what my roadmap challenge is all about. I would love to have you in there. The roadmap challenge, it's a live challenge. It's as of the recording of this, it's actually a week from today is when we're going to do the challenge. And we're doing a 1 day event this time. It's going to be long, about 4 or 5 hours. We're going to be sitting there and I'm going to be teaching you. And this is not just a come watch me, turn it on and off kind of a thing. There's homework, there's a workbook. We're working through stuff. I'm helping you build an actual roadmap to help you launch your assisted living business, to know exactly where to start and have this base foundational my goodness, I can't speak, foundational awareness in your mind on how to build your roadmap so you can be successful as you're launching your assisted living business. So go check it out, roadmapchallenge.com. I would love to have you in there for that 1 day event. It's live coaching. It is me working with you to help you build your roadmap, to answer your questions and help you get unstuck so you can make real progress as you're trying to get started here. And make sure that assisted living is right for you as well. This is a great way for you to actually get in and ask questions and understand the numbers and understand some of the ins and outs to make sure this is actually something that's going to be a good fit for you. So I'd love to have you there. I'll say it one more time, roadmapchallenge.com. Go check it out. Also, go check out thealibook.com where you can get the Profitable Assisted Living Facility. The book took my entire brain, put it into words, gave it to you. It's like 500 plus pages. It goes through everything. I'm actually like low-key. I am recording the audiobook right now. So audiobook will come out here in the next few weeks, couple months. So keep an eye out for that. But as I'm reading through it, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many like cool things in here that I forgot. And so it's really helpful for me to just like read those things. And it's so helpful for you as you're trying to launch your assisted living business. Go check that book out as well, thealibook.com. And when you're over there, grab the workbook as well. It's a companion workbook, gives you all the things that you should be doing to help you be successful. So go grab those things. They're on Amazon, or go to thealibook.com and you can get access to the links there as well. So we'd love to have you get access to that. With that, I just want to thank you for being here. We've got a few people that are live. I was questioning whether I was actually on live here at the beginning, but I've got a few people on here. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. It's fun to be on here with people when I'm not talking to myself. That's always great for me to see how you're doing and make sure you're making progress. If you like the video, thumbs up, give me a like, make sure you share the video and ring the bell as well if you're on YouTube so you get notified every time we put out content like this. We go live on Tuesdays, we put out content on Thursdays. I'm here helping you launch your assisted living business. Are you curious about assisted living but you're not sure how to get started? At Assisted Living Investing, I'm here to help first-time assisted living entrepreneurs launch profitable, purpose-driven businesses, creating prosperity, purpose, and peace in their lives. I would love to do that for you. Go check out the Roadmap Challenge at roadmapchallenge.com. And remember, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Just keep going step by step by step. And I promise you, if you do and you are consistent and persistent, you are going to be successful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.